listening to the Mexican national anthem. Well, a fervent crowd on hand for Necaxa, the United States national anthem. Well, both anthems now being completed. We take a look at Necaxa, Rick. We talked about this team, but it really all happens through number 7, Alex Aguinaga, the Ecuadorian international.
Alex Aguinaga is one of those guys that knows how to orchestrate offense, knows how to get forward there himself. If, in fact, they need to get themselves goals, you can almost be certain that he'll be the guy making it happen. Pineda will be the netminder for them.
Of course, they have great pace on the flanks in Oliva and Vasquez, who are all kinds of problems for Saprissa in their quarterfinal victory. DC United, on the other hand, tonight will make one change. Jan Meisner will step down. Into midfield tonight will go Diego Senora from his right back position, and Kerry Talley will get the start, who had the assist on the game winner to Jaime Moreno.
Great opportunity for Talley to get himself a starting role. Of course, Goose will be one of the defenders back with Pope, with Yamosa kind of anchoring things back there. But as much as we talk about the firepower of Necaxa, if there's a team from the United States that's got some firepower, talk about Echeverry, of course, Lassiter, a guy that can score goals either through his own efforts or just being simply set up by others.
There is Thomas Rongen behind assistant coach Dave Sarakin. And of course, one of the problems in the last match, Marco Echeverry not getting a lot of the ball, not having one of his better matches. Thomas Rongen speaking to him via phone today in Vegas, saying that Marco Echeverry really is going to be a key tonight. We take a look at what has happened. Chicago got through beating Joe Public, and it was a quick look, folks. Raul Arias, the head man of Necaxa, team that has tremendous history in its own right. 7 times league champions of the Mexican League. The lights of Las Vegas burning bright tonight. Sam Boyd Stadium is the venue. I guess the one chink in the armor that people look at with Necaxa is maybe in the back. They conceded 2 goals against Saprissa, maybe lacking a bit of pace. I am Glenn Davis. Rick Davis is alongside as we get set for our nightcap doubleheader trip to the Concacaf finals to face Alajuela from Costa Rica, who has already qualified via penalty kicks against the Chicago Fire. And it is game on. DC United and Necaxa. Ball played into the box. Carlos Llamosa, along with Eddie Pope in the center of defense for DC United. Carry Talley now, clearing that one.
Smart play by Talley there. Don't give up an opportunity. Less than a minute into it, just kick it out of bounds and get yourself ready.
Jose Luis Montes on the throw for Necaxa. Rick, certainly DC is going to have to pay particular attention to Aganaga and really try and get him out of this game. Make him less effective tonight.
I think that what DC should be trying to do is keep pressure and the ball in Necaxa's defensive half of the field as much as possible so that the offensive players never get going.
Echeverri started this with a great ball wide. Here's Jaime Moreno now. And DC, a much sharper start than last night. And Marco Echeverri's first touch on the ball, a quality ball. Hugo Pineda in goal for Necaxa, the veteran. Ball bent in DC. That goes out of bounds. Expect DC to press here early and often.
Of course, for Necaxa, the game that they played against the Galaxy at the Rose Bowl, they seemed really tentative almost in that game.
And that being the one-game playoff that got him here to the finals. Hugo Pineda collecting that one. Former national team keeper for Mexico in the late 80s, early 90s. The man of experience between the pipes for Necaxa. Llamosa. Expect the tempo of this one to be faster than the prior semifinal matchup. Advantage played here. Richie Williams knocking it wide. Actually, Senor to Lassiter. And Lassiter off the mark.
Look for Lassiter. Every opportunity in and around shooting range of the goal. He'll pull the trigger, not a bit shy. What makes Lassiter such a dangerous player is, as I mentioned before, not only can he himself create goals, but he has just an outstanding sense of positional play to get himself to finish the efforts of others.
Of course, he is Major League Soccer's leading scorer.
17 goals and 11 assists. Although he's really been kind of pressed this year by Jason Price, who's at 15 goals and 14 assists. It's going to be a race to the end between those two.
DC pressing now. Roy Lassiter. This is some good high pressure now coming from DC United. Lassiter coming back. Augustin Delgado, he is a handful. The target man for Necaxa. Had 2 goals in the match against Saprissa. One just a spectacular volley. Llamosa now.
He's a big physical force to be dealt with.
DC looking 100% sharper, Rick, than they did in their first match. Here's an opportunity now. Moreno trying to split the Necaxa defense, but it's poke tackled away.
The ball kind of arrived at Jaime Moreno's foot in a surprise way as it deflected off of a defender. His touch has to get by that last defender, though.
You can tell how hard this surface is. Players having trouble controlling balls. Sergio Vasquez, the Uruguayan. This guy is a man of danger on the left flank. Spectacular game against Saprissa. But he is an advanced attacker, who is someone dangerous on the cross. Here he is going one-on-one here. A good job, though, defensively by DC United. There's one player laying prone in the box. I'm not quite sure who that is for Necaxa.
Just simple, solid positional play by the DC United defense. You don't always have to outright win the ball. Just be patient, and in that case, you block it.
Vasquez, formerly of Wanderers in Chile. Now Aguinaga's come over with him. Many great years at Necaxa. Alex Aguinaga. Tom Prestis had an error in judgment in the final seconds of the game against Olympia, brought a attacker down and then saved the ensuing penalty.
Sí.
Thomas Rongen said it, you know, it's been good for us. We've gotten the first game behind us, we advanced, we've gotten used to the conditions here, the surface, the tightness of the play, and we expect to do better tonight.
Part of the logic to Concacaf going to Las Vegas is to find what they feel was a completely neutral site. Las Vegas doesn't actually have a professional soccer franchise playing there, so
you said logic?
That is the logic as I understand it.
Of course, the Las Vegas Quicksilvers used to play there.
I played there.
And you, of course, played on that field. I believe it was AstroTurf then.
Thanks a lot.
That ball headed dangerously in the box. DC still pressing here.
Boy, Pineda kind of in an awkward place off of his line, and the ball getting in behind him.
Eddie Pope going up against Augustin Delgado. That's a matchup to watch tonight. There they are again now. Pope expecting a call from Tom Prestis, not getting it. Now delivers it into the 13th row with Augustin Delgado pressing. Necaxa picked him up from Cruz Azul. Very similar to Eduardo Hurtado is Augustin Delgado. Skill, strength, power, the ability to finish. Montes on the throw. Look at Richie Williams. Here's Tom Prestis. Another in the long line of good goalkeepers for DC United.
Positionally, I think if there is one in soccer in the United States that we seem to have a lot of depth on, I would have to say goalkeeping is it, with the likes of Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, Jurgen Sommer, Tony Miola. That's just in really today's game.
DC is in the black. Necaxa in the white uniforms. Boy, this has been an anticipated matchup here in Vegas. Good look there at Sergio Vasquez.
Both teams at this point, Glenn, I think are still sorting one another out a little bit. No real consistent play by either team. Necaxa, a number of long probing type of passes. DC United, there really hasn't been anything consistent thus far, but look as the game progresses that the teams will settle down.
Ben Olsen now pressing Jaime Hernandez. A lot of firepower out here tonight, but not a lot of time and space for them to play in.
In some respects, that may favor DC in that one of the MLS franchises, San Jose, plays on a small, tight field. In Mexico, not certain that there's any field that is as tight as this.
Of course, the Mexican player traditionally is very good in tight spaces, very skilled. Certainly is a pro Necaxa crowd. Yes, in Las Vegas. DC will have to rise to the occasion defensively tonight against high-powered Necaxa. Ben Olsen. Good look at Herman Villa. Many times capped for Mexico. DC has inserted Kerry Talley into the back tonight and has pushed Diego Senora up wide on the right side in midfield, with John Maisner stepping down. Diablo on the throw. And DC will get another corner. Their second of the match. Marco Echeverri will take the corner. The DC captain. Egus struck one with power from there prior in this tournament, but he misses that one.
It's a very difficult ball to hit anyway when it's traveling across your face. Agus, very much a left side dominant player, makes it that much more difficult because the ball is going from his right to his left, so you really can't align it as well.
Here's Jeff Agus now. Agus plays it wide. DC still pressing. David Oliva, who's got tremendous pace in the right side, the man fouled. It's a guy who loves to run at defenses. Necaxa showing their skill on the ball. Ben Olsen wins it back for DC. Vegas. Olsen. DC showing their ability on the ball now. Eddie Pope. U.S. international. Listen to Pope again. Kerry Talley now. Yamosa. Diablo.
A lot of good pressure from both teams defensively.
A lot of possession, but it's a lot of possession in DC's half.
And possession with a lot of lateral movement of the ball. Probing, looking for openings.
Challenge here for both teams is to find some space in this one. You might find more on the Vegas Strip.
What was that I might find?
A little bit more space on the Vegas Strip. Because it is tight here at Sam Boyd Stadium. Echeverri now.
One of the things DC United would be well served to do is to get the ball to their playmaker in number 10 Echeverri, but you have to give him the ball on the ground so that he can use his unbelievable vision and skill to set Lassiter and Moreno up top. thus far, I don't think he's seen but a couple of touches on the ball.
Well, and in their quarterfinal victory over Olympia, the header there, it's a flashing one. And it comes from David Oliva.
Off of a cross, perfectly placed. Oliva really just doing anything he can to put his head on the ball. Tries to redirect it to the far post, had pressed this beat.
Well, and Oliva had sort of come central. And that's generally what Necaxa does. They'll bring in their wide midfielder if the play's on the opposite side of the field. So you'll see Vasquez and Oliva both come in support of Augustin Delgado. Fact of the matter is, you may not get the most aesthetically beautiful games to watch, but there is so much importance being placed on this tournament. Unfortunately, the media in America has not picked up on it.
Failed opportunity by DC there. Lassiter, great speed. At this point, I don't know that that last ball forward would really give us much indication whether he has the speed to just run by the Necaxa defenders. Cali getting called for the foul against Vasquez.
Jose Luis Montes on the free kick. MLS's last shot to get to the finals of this tournament on the line tonight. Defending champion DC. Pineda way off his line.
If your defense is going to play upfield where there's space in behind him, your goalkeeper has to come to the edge of the box.
Ball cut back, Echeverri dummies it. And the left-footed shot, a weak one. Raul Arias, the head man for Necaxa, looking on. Of course, Necaxa at the moment in the Mexican First Division at the top of their group, third in overall points. And I believe it's Roy Lassiter who is down for DC.
Devastating blow for DC United to lose their top goal scorer. Not only as it relates to this competition in this game, but of course the MLS season.
Of course, in the prior semifinal matchup, Chicago lost Peter Novak and lost a lot of their direction in that match. I wonder if that's his hamstring he might be holding.
Clearly what he's holding, it would indicate that. Thomas Rongden out there in a consoling manner, I think, indicative of the fact that we're likely to see a change already.
Boy, that is it. It looks like that is it for Roy Lassiter. What a blow to DC United this early in this match. And MLS snake bitten right now. A.J. Wood getting set to come on. Tell you what though, Rick, A.J. Wood might be the kind of guy who could be very advantageous for you on a pitch like this. Small, tight, a real battler in the penalty area.
And a guy that can score goals in his own way against the Galaxy. A couple weekends ago, he scored an incredible goal off of a bomb with his left foot. And of course, that off of some limited playing time.
Number 15, Roy Lassiter.
So Lassiter is out, DC's #1 goal scorer. They bring on former UVA product, A.J. Wood.
Sustitución para DC United, entrando al partido número 7, A.J. Wood. Sale al partido número 15.
Part of what makes DC United the successful team, having have won the MLS in its first couple of years, only to lose to Chicago, is the depth that they have to be able to bring on a guy like A.J. Wood I think, a real positive thing.
Of course, their prior MLS match to this tournament, they rested 5 players. Actually 7, but 2 of them only getting 45 minutes, one of them being Roy Lassiter.
Jeff Agus the other.
Agus is an Iron Man. Played every minute of every match down in the Confederations Cup in Guadalajara.
And I think, Jeff, one of those players that really has become much better as he has aged. Not so much in necessarily a maturing way. It just seems like every bit of his game, both physical, tactical, and technical, has improved.
We'll leave it out to Augustine Delgado. Necaxa on the attack. And Delgado brought down.
Delgado recognizing he's got a number of DC United players closing him down. I think just with the little contact there was, decides, you know what, I'm going to get us a free kick here, and he goes to the ground.
And Olsen making the contact, Delgado hitting the deck.
Very dangerous restart. Look at the space between the DC United defenders and their keeper. That's where you want to serve it.
It's the left foot of Sergio Vasquez.
Left foot would indicate high. I'm more along the lines of a right footer hitting it low and hard.
This may be a shot from Vasquez. Don't be surprised if he tries to go for goal. And he does. He puts it over the top. With Sergio Vasquez missing the target there off the free kick for Necaxa.
For me, that's the one place the kicker doesn't want to put the ball out of everybody's reach and out of bounds.
Yamosa. Of course, on this field, you've got to play direct. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it at times. Agus. Good combination play there to Richie Williams now. Moreno had been checking back. Field is so hard. Every ball that hits the ground just bouncing up. People having a hard time killing balls at their feet.
Part of the adjustment that all players need to make with it being so tight, you have to make your runs a little bit quicker. Even a half-second delay in starting your run can mean the difference between being open for a ball and not.
AJ Wood. There's the benefit of him holding that ball up at the top of the box. Kerry Talley now bending it into the back stick. Olsen. Necaxa tries to clear. Diablo. Marco Echeverri. And I believe he gets called for the foul on Alex Aguinaga.
The problem, as we get another look at a Goose, I believe the one guilty of the foul there.
I stand corrected, Jeff Agus.
But you mentioned Echeverri. We haven't heard his name. He has not been involved, and that's not a good thing for DC.
And that cross missing by about 2 days from Necaxa. DC United will get the goal kick.
3 or 4 days or 1 day?
Prestes. Tom Prestes was a little bit shaky, I think, in the first quarterfinal match. It certainly has done very well for DC United. Seems a bit more composed tonight. Both teams having difficulty getting this ball down on the floor. The pace of this one much quicker than the Chicago Alajuela game. Carlos Llamosa.
Still have to marvel a little bit about the collective performance of the Alajuela team. Give them credit when credit's deserved. They won that game. I don't think it was as much Chicago losing it as it was Alajuela winning it.
Very well organized under Guilherme Farina, a Brazilian coach. They have become the upstart of this tournament. DC will get the free kick. Moreno brought down by Herman Villa.
Part of the tendency when you're playing on a tight field is you want to solve it by dribbling. That just compounds the problem. 1- and 2-touch passing, so you don't see as many bodies in the area of the ball as that picture tells you.
Floated into the box. I believe that was Kerry Talley on the challenge. There's a good look at Hugo Pineda. He doesn't agree with the call. The 37-year-old will now have to fend off another corner. DC United's third. Echeverri to the back post, left-footed volley, and DC United, Kerry Talley continues the story, has scored their first goal here in the 26th minute.
An outstanding corner by Echeverri with a ton of pace. It gets to the back post in a hurry. I believe it's Ben Olsen who heads the ball back into the middle. Talley just a step quicker than his defender, and with a left-footed volley, he smacks it low to Pineda's right. DC striking first blood.
Credit Ben Olsen for getting up at that back stick and laying that down to the feet of Talley, and Talley takes that beautifully. Of course, he is the man who set up Jaime Moreno for the goal against Olympia. So, Rick, it has been quite a story, and interesting. Thomas Rongen smart enough to get him in the starting lineup.
Now, it's one of those moves that makes coaches look like geniuses.
Yeah, I call that good coaching.
Absolutely.
So, DC United, the 1-0 lead.
Little frustration, I think, in this tackle by Necaxa. Our first yellow card issued to Cabrera.
And it is Jaime Moreno who is down. Cabrera more of a stay-at-home defender. He wasn't staying home on this play.
It looks worse than I think maybe in actuality it was, but there's a little frustration, I think, coming through right after the fact that his team just gave up a goal.
DC United goal.
So Cabrera
scored by number 3, Kerry Talley.
Also played as a holding midfielder for the Mexican national team.
Time of the goal in the 26th
Of course, he's only
minute.
got 2 caps.
Talley from Williams in the 26th minute. DC United 1, Necaxa 0.
So if you've joined us late, Roy Lassiter went off with an injury. A.J. Wood came on. DC has gone out through Kerry Talley off a Marco Echeverri corner. And an assist to Ben Olsen.
Damas y caballeros,
Diablo.
atención, por favor, por DC United. Goal.
And DC will get another corner. They are being rewarded for their pressure as Jaime Moreno, the Bolivian, makes his way back on.
25 minutos.
At some point, anticipate Eddie Pope coming forward on DC United corners.
Carta amarilla, número 2, Salvador Cabrera de Necaxa.
Pineda
27 minutos.
goes down very hard.
Referees often do what they can within the rules to protect the goalkeeper. I think Pineda actually collides with his own player. Don't believe any contact between he and A.J. Wood.
Let's see if A.J. Wood on the replay here makes any contact. Actually, the defender pushing Wood out of the way, and it is his own defender that really makes the contact with Hugo Pineda. So in actuality, that really should not have been whistled as a foul. I think the tendency is sometimes, because a goalkeeper comes down, for a referee to blow a whistle.
They're in such a vulnerable position when they go high for the ball. that I think referees just feel inclined to protect them a little bit, but here's a good example of a goalkeeper just running into his own player.
Of course, the referee had a different sight line.
And not three
And didn't
slow
get three
motion replays.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't get 3 slow motion replays to check it out. So
Love
we're not as smart as we sound up here, folks.
Love to be able to scrutinize things when I can see it 3 times.
Of course, that referee is Carlos Batris from Guatemala, in charge of the nightcap here at Sam Boyd Stadium. DC scoring a spectacular goal to take the 1-0 lead. We are in the 31st minute. Hugo Pineda. Pope and Aganaga. Eddie Pope doing a strong job there. Well, the 2 playmakers, neither of them have gotten much of the ball on this one, Rick, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure that they will. Aganaga for Necaxa, Diablo for DC.
Thus far, DC seems content to continue with the early game tactic of pressure the ball all over the field.
Olsen almost getting that in behind a Necaxa defender. Ben Olsen here in the challenge with Sergio Almaguer. DC United has tremendous depth, as you spoke about earlier, Rick. This field, really, because of the games being played on it, seems to get faster every match.
Well, and you add American football to it, and it gets beat up pretty good. UNLV, their home site.
I'm not going to get on my high horse about lines on a field tonight. And give it a break. Echeverry now.
Marco just doesn't look sharp.
Well, he definitely did struggle against Olympia. DC had a tough draw playing Olympia of Honduras, the #1 qualifying team out of Central America.
Part of what I think makes it difficult for the playmakers is the tightness of the field. That much less time to consider and weigh options. Although Echeverry, he certainly has the skill and the ability, I think, to adapt to the fact that he'll have a little less time.
Well, it's accurate to say DC has not faced this sort of firepower in Major League Soccer with David Oliva, Sergio Vasquez, Augustin Delgado, and Alex Aganaga.
And by putting pressure on them all over the field, they're minimizing the times where the ball arrives up there with those guys in a quality way. There was a famous football coach at one point that said, best defense is a good offense, or something like that.
You didn't just say that.
Love to take credit for it, but
Ben Olsen. Agus getting forward on the left side. Yamosa getting there. Echeverry. Yamosa back to Echeverry. There's the tight play of Echeverry. He gets decked. Batris says play on. This is is where you want Echeverry to have it. Again, a bit hesitant. And Marco Echeverry gets called for the foul.
I believe a handball, because clearly it looked like he was the player that was tripped. Here's a situation, Jaime Moreno getting a foul for the DC United. This is where Echeverry can be so dangerous. He may not be on his game through the flow of play. If I'm Necaxa, watch out, folks, on this restart.
That's a bookable offense. No intent to play any ball on that by Jose Luis Montes, but it is Echeverry standing over this one with Diego Senora to his left. Diablo, bending ball, that one over the top.
Echeverry just simply trying to bend it to the near post. Pineda, I think, does a solid job of anticipating the shot, not overcommitting himself, but then getting there in the end to see it over the crossbar.
36th minute. Our sister station, Fox Sports World in Espanol. If you want to watch it in Spanish. Celaya taking on Adelante. That is live Saturday, October 2nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Celaya put a stomping on Chivas 5-0 recently. And then Leon taking on Guadalajara. That is Sunday, October 3rd, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Echeverry now switching it to Carlos Llamosa.
There's that battling that you talked about A.J. Wood providing as a point guy. He'll go for every ball within 20 yards of him.
Agus, there is Echeverry. Great tight shot of him there. That's the Marco Echeverry we know. Ben Olsen. A.J. Wood. Still battling.
Necaxa very much in that situation in a man-on-man defensive posture. Both players really just wanting to stay tight with their guy, not really willing to venture away from that player to go to the ball.
Long throw from Echeverry. Aguinaga just knocking that one forward has not been a factor in this one. I think the conditions have helped to make this game pass him by. Jaime Moreno was the difference maker against Olimpia of Honduras in the quarterfinals, scoring the lone goal and also driving a header off the crossbar. Montes on the throw. Sergio Vasquez also not getting a lot of the ball here in the first half. We are in the 39th minute. Aguinaga.
Not many balls from Necaxa trying to find their target player in Agustin Delgado.
Oh, look at that play there from Ben Olsen. How quickly he gets back up off the ground. Cabrera. Necaxa being forced to play a lot of direct balls and bypassing their midfield now. This is the guy you want to have it, Alex Aguinaga. And he earns the corner.
Opportunity here for a few of the defenders for Necaxa to get forward. both teams at times showing a possible intent of playing a short corner.
Near post, that one flicked on. Necaxa claiming goal, and they will get the goal.
Goals sometimes come in a lot of different ways. Prestis absolutely gets hit with the ball square in the chest. I think he thought, or actually maybe redirected just a little bit, ultimately dropping right to the head of Sergio Almaguer, and he just simply from about a yard away from Prestis heads the ball right back towards the goal. A Goose trying to get out and clear it off the line, does so a little bit late. Necaxa right back in this one.
Well, and Necaxa really against the run of the play getting this goal. Agus tries to get it off the line. They claim it's gone all the way over. Look at disbelief on the face of Tom Prestis, but it was the flick on at the near post that created the problems.
The assistant referee perfectly positioned on the goal line to see whether it fully crossed the goal line.
Aguinaga now, all of a sudden, Necaxa getting some confidence. It had been all DC pressure-wise up until this point.
Kind of a tough goal for DC to give up so late in the half.
Well, kind of an ugly goal, but they're like babies. They're all beautiful.
They all count.
And here we go again. Echeverry clears. Oh, and a late challenge there. No call. Jaime Moreno again being targeted. Delgado. Tom Prestis does well to get off his line and snuff out the opportunity going to Augustin Delgado.
Number 3, Sergio Almaguer. The assist to number 7, Alex Aguinaga. Time of the goal in the 40th minute. Almaguer from Aguinaga for Necaxa in the 40th minute.
Well, they're crediting Almaguer with the goal from Aguinaga, but I believe it was flicked on at the near post. I'm not quite sure who it was.
I think there was a little bit of a touch, which was just enough to throw Prestis off of his mark.
There is your goal scorer. Defender Sergio Almaguer. His goal coming in the 39th minute. Echeverry on the free kick now for DC. We're in the 43rd minute. Ball bent in the box. That one flicking dangerously to the left of Hugo Pineda. Thomas Rongen busy jotting some notes down. Hugo Pineda not in any rush to take this goal kick.
Anytime you come from behind in a game, you want to make sure that you don't turn around and give up a goal as quickly as you've got the one back. I think Necaxa at this point would be satisfied going into the locker at halftime tied.
Aguinaga with the chip, and that doesn't miss by much. Aguinaga has not been that involved, but is now coming to life here at the end of the first half.
Aguinaga quickly recognizes Prestis off his line, and instead of trying to dribble around defenders, he uses them as a screen, and his touch just a little bit strong.
Well, his vision and his inventiveness can change a match at any time. Comes close to putting Necaxa up 2-1. Carey Talley now, DC's goal scorer. Boy, there is just no room down the flanks. It's so difficult to get in behind defenses to the byline, the end line.
As narrow as the field is, it kind of, I think, emphasizes that much more for the need for players to get as wide as possible, so that what little space you can create more in the central part of the field, you do.
It's just so easy to close people down out here just because of the lack of width. Necaxa on the free kick. We are now into injury time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has added 2 minutes.
There will be 2 minutes of injury time. Delgado and Pope. Pope has done a nice job of suffocating Agustin Delgado.
Right now, DC not doing a good job of getting some pressure on the player with the ball in midfield, enabling him to pick and choose his targets up front.
Vasquez, ball still loose. DC in trouble here. And finally, Carey Talley comes away with it. Williams to Senora. Great ball out on the left side, opened up there by Jaime Moreno. Ben Olsen now. Right-footed shot. Pineda had it covered.
Good move by Olsen to cut inside, feint like he's going to go back outside, and then before the defender has time to recover, to quickly get the shot off.
Watch the second DC player cut in front of Olsen. Quite possibly screening Hugo Pineda. Senora. Senora has now come in central more. Jaime Moreno. Danger here. Moreno! And A.J. Wood about a yard away from that ball driven in from Jaime Moreno.
Half shot, half cross. Dangerous either way. From an acute angle, if you're going to miss it, folks, miss it low on the ground, field side of the goal.
It was Senora who had come in central who found Jaime Moreno out wide, and I think Jaime Moreno from wide positions might be a difference maker for DC. Carlos Batris has blown the whistle. The first half is over. DC United scoring first, Carey Talley, and then Sergio Almaguer later in the first half for Necaxa leveling things. Welcome back, DC United, and Necaxa tied at 1-1. 45 minutes to determine who will face Alajuela of Costa Rica in the final of the Concacaf Champions Cup and a trip to the World Club Championship in January to Brazil. Take a look at the first half stats, and it really was, Rick, a first half that really, there was not a lot of midfield play in this one.
Not a lot of midfield play. Both teams looking, I think, to kind of bypass that and get it up to their guns up top. Of course, the DC United losing Lassiter early on. In terms of goals, we know it's 1-1. Saved one save for Necaxa goalkeeper Pineda, none for Prestes. One yellow card in this contest issued to number 2, Cabrera, for Necaxa. In terms of shots, you've got DC United with more shots, although not necessarily of greater quality, 7-3. A fairly even match between these teams.
But and if we look back at the Chicago Fire matchup prior to this against Alajuela, that also was a game that really not a lot of chances were created. Really, I think that comes down to the conditions here at Sam Boyd Field.
Of course, you had, I think, two teams playing tactically very different in that one. Slow play, really, the emphasis of both Chicago and Alajuela. Here, it's get it up front and take your strikes at the goal.
Glenn Davis and Rick Davis alongside. And you might say this is the most 45 minutes most important 45 minutes staring DC United in the face in a long time.
And for me, Glenn, they have shown that rare quality of teams at the international level that simply knows how to win games somehow, some way, whether it's manufacturing a goal, making a save to keep the ball out of theirs, or if it gets to penalties, they know how to do it.
Our sister station, don't forget, great Mexican League soccer. Celaya taking on Atlante. That is live Saturday, October 2nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You don't want to miss that one. Leon taking on Guadalajara. Sunday, October 3rd, 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Little applause. There is Thomas Rongen. Started with Tampa Bay in MLS, 2 years in New England, and now running the show in D.C. for United. DC United holding the flag right now for Major League Soccer at the Concacaf Champions Cup. Of course, Chicago eliminated on penalty kicks by the story of the tournament, Alajuela of Costa Rica. And it is game on, second half action underway. DC United and Necaxa for a place in the finals of the Concacaf Champions Cup.
Glenn, not sure at this point that either coach would go to his bench to make any changes. I think in a lot of respects we can expect this half to be a lot like what we saw in the first half, except it's clearly starting different for DC, as Echeverry draws himself not only a foul but a yellow card for a very dangerous straight-legged tackle.
There's a closer look at it there. Carlos Batres brings out the yellow card. The man who goes down is Sergio Almaguer, the goal scorer for Necaxa. As a concerned Raul Arias, their head man, looks on.
Time of the contest, the 46th minute.
Damas y caballeros, su atención, por favor.
It's been a somewhat frustrating tournament for Marco Echeverry.
Yes.
I think he's had a decent year in MLS, although I think when he was playing in the Copa America, he wasn't a starter with Bolivia, and I don't know that Marco has really been the same since coming back from that.
You would have to say, though, undoubtedly, over the history of the MLS, he has been the most dominant player. Absolutely.
Not as much, of course, for his ability to score goals as it is to just set other players up.
Of course, a joy to watch as well. Speaking of a joy to watch, Diego Senor now in full flight. Moreno. Change of pace down the sideline. Moreno gets to the end line. Gary Talley recovering there. Bad ball from Yamosa, though. Aguinaga now. Sergio Vasquez to Oliva. This is part 3/4 of that dangerous attack.
That move so quick by David Oliva that I don't think Ben Olsen had a chance to get out of the way of the first one.
Well, they have tremendous pace on the flanks with David Oliva and Sergio Vasquez. Echeverry fending off two, but he can't fend a third off, and he gets called for the foul.
Marco's got to be careful. Already carrying a yellow card from right at the start of this half.
I think David Oliva may be embellishing that one a little bit, trying to get Marco Echeverry sent off.
If there's a little bit of a criticism for Echeverry's game, he sometimes plays with too much passion, so to speak, and has been known to get himself in trouble as it relates to cautions and ejections.
Well, he definitely did bring down David Oliva. You said it, he has got to be careful. But he is having a hard time finding space and really is besieged every time he picks a ball up central in midfield. This has been a war tonight Olsen and Agus. Senora, the Argentine. Bad ball there. DC will get the throw in. Agus. Yamosa. Eddie Pope now. He has looked solid defensively tonight. Neither team has really established much of a rhythm. Here's Aganaga. Still on the ball. Sergio Vasquez. Delgado. Vasquez looking for it on the return. Danger. And Tom Prestis has to go down to his ankles to come up big there. Combination play coming from Vasquez and Agustin Delgado.
It's a great knockdown pass from Delgado in a crowd. The one touch gets the ball right back to his teammates for the shot. Nice save going down to his left by Prestis.
Olsen, tremendous control there from Ben Olsen. Agus to the back post. Echeverri. Moreno now. Olsen trying to pull that one back to the near post.
Quality of the cross from the left side not real good from DC. They've gotten the ball to the end line a couple of times, who just haven't done enough with their crosses.
Well, you almost thought Marco Echeverri may have had a shot.
Did you see how quickly he released that pass, though? Guys like me just dream about being able to do that.
Yeah, that dream died with me a long time ago.
I as well.
Agus. Echeverri now becoming more of a presence. Direct ball, trouble here. But Prestis off his line. Good communication there with Carlos Llamosa.
Not a particularly good clearance by that man. Today's goalkeeper, simply put, you got to be pretty good with your feet.
Oliva now. Agustin Delgado holding it up against three. Trying to bull his way through. He sets up Vasquez. And he doesn't miss by much. Agustin Delgado setting up Sergio Vasquez.
Delgado draws the crowd. All defenders in the middle of the field go to collapse on him, and then he just releases the ball out to Vasquez, who gets underneath his shot a little bit. DC United defenders showing Agustin Delgado quite a bit of respect as they all go to him in lieu of a player out wide.
Almaguer. Oliva. This ball an errant one. That goes out of bounds. Agustin Delgado has a breadth of skills. Showing us some of them there. Echeverri now. Much livelier Marco Echeverri here in the second half. Good sign for DC. Richie Williams now.
Sometimes one of the worst things that a team can do against a player like Echeverri is get him wound up through some fouls and so forth. Marco is wound up, and he is a different player already in this half.
'54th minute. Jose Luis Montes on the throw. Number 5. Formerly a Chivas and Toluca player. Of course, Toluca got knocked out in this tournament by Alajuela of Costa Rica.
For me, Glenn, they are the surprise team of the tournament.
They're the story right now. The other part of the story being determined here. Who will face them in the finals? Eddie Pope, a little touch there to create some space for himself. But the long ball measured a bit too far. Necaxa on the goal kick.
Playing within oneself, an important thing for any player. Eddie Pope, much more of a destroying or a destructive type of player in breaking up the play of other teams than a creator. That's where, if I'm Eddie Pope, I get the ball to Echeverry as quickly as I can.
Echeverry slips a great ball in behind the defense, Senora. But Necaxa getting back in a nice tight line to head away.
Sound positional play by the Necaxa defenders to cover all of the target areas.
DC, though, starting to get in behind their defense, and that is no easy trick at Sam Boyd Stadium.
DC really has elevated their game a notch or two. Necaxa thus far in the half not able. And right now, DC really, I think, the tempo setters here in the second half, which they couldn't seem to find their mark in the first.
For me, Rick, after they scored the first goal, I thought they had the better of the play, and then Necaxa, after pinching the goal back off the corner, started to get a little bit of life. A.J. Wood. Diablo, he's got to be careful here, pressing Jose Luis Montes.
Eating a little bit of humble pie right now. He fanned on that shot. Crowd giving him a jeer.
Oliva and Agus. Jeff Agus was quoted as saying, you know, this may not be pretty in Vegas, and it's going to come down to fighting the good fight.
A little bit of a slip, I think, worked in favor of Oliva as Agus carried the ball over the end line.
Tell you what, though, if I'm a defender, I'm loving playing here.
Tight space. Defensively, you love little space. Offensively, you like a lot of it.
Vasquez on the corner. Again, they go near post. Flying header from Ben Olsen. Delgado! 2-1 Necaxa. Postage stamp from Agustin Delgado.
Off of the cross, DC United basically dead in the water when the ball drops to the ground. Delgado with the quick control. Say no more, folks. Top shelf, upper corner. What finishing ability by number 9, Agustin Delgado. Wow.
This is his third goal of the tournament. He had 2 against Saprissa, and actually Jeff Agus's header laid down, went through the legs of Eddie Pope right to Agustin Delgado. Necaxa takes the 2-1 lead.
We saw Necaxa in the first half battle back from a 1-goal deficit. The tables have turned. The test is now with DC.
Herman Villa. David Oliva. Back to Oliva against Jeff Agus. Agus does a good job of denying the cross. But Necaxa has been dangerous on the corner tonight. They're 5th. Alex Aguinaga, the Ecuadorian international, not in any hurry to take this corner.
Agus does a good job to recover off of a solid move by Oliva to the end line.
Sergio Vasquez. Near post, fisted out by Prestes. Good pressure by Moreno to earn the throw-in. Ben Olsen. Kerry Talley. Pope Pope. The MLS teams certainly don't feel like they're at home here. Crowd is a pro Necaxa crowd, and of course, when Chicago played Alajuela seemed as though they were the home team. Aganaga gets fouled. Don't count DC United out.
Goal scored by Necaxa, number 9, Agustin Delgado, his third of the tournament.
Challenge for DC, Glenn, just a little bit more difficult without their top goal scorer. Roy Lassiter went out in the first half with an apparent hamstring injury. Without him, A.J. Wood has come on there, but A.J. really, although has battled admirably, has not been all that productive. And just looking at the list of available substitutes, I'm not quite sure who you might have available to bring in to spark that offense if the score remains the way it is for a while.
Well, we know one team that's in it, Alajuela from Costa Rica. And the winner of this DC United Necaxa, that final is 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That is for a trip to the World Club Championships in Brazil in January 2000. That's if we all survive the millennium. Oliva. Might be a great place to actually see in the new millennium. Herman Villa deemed out of bounds.
I think he's actually signaling a foul.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's telling Jeff Agos to put it on the floor.
In one of those categories of the not so important, it'd be kind of fun as a player to say, you know what? I played in 2 decades. Not decades, centuries, I mean.
Sensing a comeback?
No, I didn't say I. I'm talking about other players.
Thomas Rongen.
I need that old man's league if I'm going to keep playing.
Marco Echeverri on the free kick here in the 62nd minute.
Watch for the pace of the cross.
Great ball by Echeverri, not good enough though. Hugo Pineda off his line to get that one, the veteran. Agus, the saving header there. Draped all over Agustin Delgado. Ben Olsen now. Richie Williams. Good ball from Williams. A.J. Wood is brought down. That's got to be a foul.
That's what A.J. Wood brings to the DC United team. A battler for every ball. He earns this foul. Echeverri now will have the opportunity to try and find a target in the middle. Look for DC to send a lot forward, including Yamoso and Pope.
Well, you said it on cue, Eddie. Pope and Wood in the box. Echeverri on the free kick. Curling ball whipped in, that one headed out by Necaxa. Ben Olsen.
Here, I think, is where Necaxa will show some of the experience, which for me differentiates a lot of teams from other countries from those here in the United States. The experience to withstand the pressure, the effort by the team to get the tying goal, and then to pick them apart on counterattacks.
Preston, still plenty of time in this match. 64th minute. Well, DC struck first in this one. Kerry Talley, a well-constructed goal off a Ben Olsen header. And then against the run of the play, Necaxa scored Almaguer off a corner. And now they have the 2-1 lead. Augustine Delgado just hitting a rocket in the upper corner, giving Necaxa the 2-1 lead. Sergio Vasquez, the Uruguayan.
Somewhat of a frustration, I'm sure, for Eddie Pope, who has for most of the game been matched up with Delgado. Goose's header down onto the ground, goes between his legs, and suddenly he turns around and Delgado's controlling the ball and pounding it in the upper corner of the goal.
DC really has blanketed Delgado quite well in this match. He's not been the factor he was against Saprissa, of course. We're talking about another level with DC United. Senora. Jaime Moreno still. Great ball by Moreno. And Hugo Pineda denies A.J. Wood.
A.J. Wood wide open. I think the Necaxa defenders figured Moreno was going nowhere. And from about 6 yards out, A.J. puts it on the frame, but almost right at the keeper in Pineda. Quick reactions, though, to stop the initial ball and then to cover up on his own rebound. Big save by Pineda.
Well, and Moreno impressive, beating 2 down the line and then getting that ball in between the 2 Necaxa defenders. DC United not dead yet.
There, I think, is where they miss Roy Lassiter a little bit. He tends to be more opportunistic and a better out-and-out finisher with few touches in front of the goal.
The genius of Alex Aguinaga. Fisted out by Prestes. Oliva. And Prestes has to punch this one over the end line, not knowing what was behind him. Necaxa with the corner.
Prestes, I think, a little bit shaky in that on this cross. Better vision tells him there's nobody back there. Knowing his goal.
Bending in, Prestes got drawn to the near post. David Oliva has scored, and DC United is now in big trouble.
Just about ready to say that Prestes showing some signs of being a little bit shaky. You said it all, Glenn. Gets drawn to the near post, and then to only have the ball just out of his reach, he goes to try and box it out and never accomplishes anything close to that, leaving his defenders hung out to dry.
See, right here he's pushing his own defender,
and then he gets just a little touch, but you got to clear that ball of the 18-yard box if you're going to fist it.
He overcommitted at the near post.
Too concerned, even though he had a defender in Llamosa right there, matched up with the Necaxa player. Here's the move. Defender out, attacker in.
Chris Albright, talented young American out of UVA, comes in for Eddie Pope. And you said it, an attacking move now by Thomas Rongen.
This type of situation with a team like Necaxa is where you very quickly can get routed. You pull out a defender, you're having a hard enough time keeping balls out of your goal. I understand the need for getting goals.
Necaxa goal scored by
Well, we talked about this being a high-powered offense revolving around Aguinaga, Delgado, Oliva, and Sergio Vasquez. They've all had a hand in the goals tonight. They've got 6 goals now in 2 games. Although really, the last goal's got to go down to bad goalkeeping.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. And what makes it, I think, kind of a double whammy, he set up the corner by, I think, another questionable play.
Handball called there on Jaime Moreno. I guess the goal for DC now is to try and pull one back here as quick as possible.
Still
make a run
actually
and getting level.
Still actually a good amount of time, though. Unofficially about 20 minutes. That's plenty of time. I think for about the next 10 minutes, you can anticipate that they'll be a little bit patient. Once you get inside 10 minutes, though, down if they are still by 2, urgency becomes huge.
But Necaxa now lifting their level. The champions of the Americas teetering on the brink of disaster right now. Moreno. Ben Olsen. Driven cross, that one headed out by Vasquez. Opportunity here. A.J. Wood, can he turn it back? But nobody getting into the box. DC misses a golden opportunity. Echeverry beats one. And DC will get the corner.
Necaxa a little bit guilty of having there be seams between their defenders, their midfielders, creating some space for DC.
Yamosa. Down goes Chris Albright. No call. Oliva battling Richie Williams. He is a handful, very pacey. David Oliva on the right side. Of course, he got the 3rd goal for Necaxa in this one. Necaxa looking to make a change. It's like Miguel Acosta, number 6, getting set to come in. 24-year-old reserve defender. So obviously a defensive move maybe being the choice now for headman Raul Arias. Good throw in there from Ben Olsen, which put Necaxa in a place where they could only concede the corner.
One might question the logic of giving up a corner. Better to be safe than give up an opportunity through the flow of play.
Yamosa again getting up. Echeverry. Bit of desperation now creeping into DC's play. 74th minute. Not only battling Necaxa, they're battling the fans too.
For me, though, that's a little bit of inexperience by Talley. You're just going to bait the crowd on more by getting upset about the fact the ball doesn't come to you. Let the referee do his job and stop the clock or add additional time.
See the black ribbons being worn on the left arm But the Necaxa player that, in respect for the Mexican earthquake and the disaster that's occurred in Mexico City, of course, Necaxa from Mexico City. Miguel Acosta coming on. Hernan Viña coming off.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. A substitution for Necaxa. Coming on, number 6, Miguel Acosta. Coming on, number 12, Hernan Viña. Time of the substitution, 75th minute.
Echeverri.
Vamos a cambiar la sustitución por favor. Sustitución para Necaxa. Entrando en el partido número 6, Miguel Acosta. Sale Alvarado.
And again, the quickness of David Oliva, which earns the foul.
Just simply doing a good job, individual dribbling ability, trying to reach in from behind number 14, Ben Olsen.
What a great shot in the arm it would be for Major League Soccer, again, to get a representative down to the World Club Championship. Certainly would help the league.
We were talking about that between games on Tuesday. Right now, not looking particularly favorable that will happen, considering Chicago's loss earlier this evening and DC trailing at this point by a pair of goals.
Vasquez. Llamosa. Echeverri waving both hands. He wants the ball. He gets it. Moreno now going down into the corner against two Necaxa defenders. Williams.
Right now, DC playing too visible for me in that everything is in front of Necaxa and their defense.
Bad ball from Richie Williams. Augustin Delgado. Herman Villa.
Not only the time a cost to DC in their efforts to get back into it, but now look at all the bodies that are back. To get a goal, you're going to have to move them back upfield.
Conce using the whole park here to knock it around, and the offside call. Well, we haven't spoke much of Herman Villa, but Rick, he has been quite a link behind those four attacking players in Vasquez, Aguinaga, Delgado, and Oliva. 42 international caps showing tonight from Hernan Villa. Olsen.
Echeverri getting quite a bit of the ball here in the second half, although of late that space has come too much in the midfield. Not enough near that imaginary barrier or transitional period between the middle third and the offensive third, where his passes can be setting up scoring opportunities, not just simply facilitating play.
Agus back to Tom Prestis. 79th minute. Time is running out on DC United.
Prestis hoofing that one into the crowd doesn't help.
Necaxa has been pretty stout defensively tonight.
And good, clean tactical play here in that when they win possession of the ball, they quickly find an open player so that they can continue to keep possession. But always making sure that they have a good number of players, mostly 3 and 4 at the minimum, in good defensive positions at all times.
Vasquez looking for Agustin Delgado. Individual skill of Necaxa making a difference. Agustin Delgado now. Deflected off A.J. Wood. Necaxa fans out in force here at Sam Boyd Stadium. Jaime Hernandez on the throw. Moreno wins it back for DC. Boy, look at how quickly Necaxa in packs of 2s and 3s just hunting the ball.
Always making sure that at least one of the defensive players is on the goal side of the player, pushing the ball to the side or back towards the player's own goal.
Agus's ball to the back post. DC again put it into the penalty area, but it's headed out by Necaxa. Richie Williams' shot mishit.
A couple of those crosses from the United players. Way too much time up in the air.
Don't forget, on our sister station, Celaya and Atlante, En Vivo Live, Saturday, October 2nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Leon, Guadalajara, that is on Sunday, October 3rd, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. That is on Fox Sports World Espanol. Yamosa's header forward. Well, DC came in like lions tonight, getting the first goal of this match. A great goal from Kerry Talley. But it has been 3 consecutive goals from Necaxa that lead us to this point here in the 83rd minute with their 3-1 lead. Delgado and Yamosa. Delgado goes down. Goal kick.
Well, that's always, I think, a tough call for a referee. Here it appears that Yamosa does a lot of getting a piece of Delgado. I think if the score is a different one, that ball could be going to the 12-yard spot.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. The tighter shot there showed that it looked like it may have been a penalty.
Again, our benefit, the replays, slow motion at that in different angles. And that's not to say that referees change the way that they call the game intentionally. I think it's just, it's human nature. I know I can't help but at times find myself rooting for the team that's obviously in these circumstances the underdog.
Well, here's a change we saw against Saprissa. David Oliva, the scorer of the 3rd goal, comes out, and what comes in is a guy with 64 caps for Mexico, Ignacio Nacho Ambriz.
Some fresh legs, more of a midfield presence, and great experience to guide this team for the rest of what is about unofficially 6 minutes of play with a 2-goal lead.
Well, a mainstay in the 90s for Necaxa. Slowly found himself out of the starting lineup, but can't bring a better guy on at this stage. He's a defensive-oriented player. Ben Olsen, Richie Williams now. DC trying to get a goal here.
You give it everything you've got. Number 14 for DC United, Ben Olsen, doing anything he can to try and keep the ball alive.
Well, DC is the highest powered offensive machine in Major League Soccer, but they have been known to concede a few goals in MLS as well because of that attacking spirit.
Now they are above all the other teams in Major League Soccer. They've got 62 goals on the season. Closest team to them is at 48. That's the Dallas Burn. And the Chicago Fire also at 48. In terms of goals against, they've given up 38. Stingiest defense in the MLS is the LA Galaxy at 25. The most porous defense. And I'm not beating up on them, folks. The New York, New Jersey Metro Stars.
Olsen on the clear.
Ignacio Ambriz de Necaxa. El tiempo, 86 minutos.
Ambriz gets a yellow card. Ball sitting at the 18, but it is a white shirt of Necaxa that gets there first.
Changes at this point, I think, are as much designed just to give players out on the field a little bit of a break. Maybe bring in some defensive support.
Octavio Becerril comes in. Jaime Hernandez comes off, another veteran, 35 years of age. So Becerril and Ambriz, a 34 and a 35-year-old, brought on in the waning minutes.
Coming on, number 15, Octavio Becerril. Coming off, number 24, Jaime Hernandez. Time for the substitution in the 88th minute.
A.J. Wood now. Bending ball to the back post. And DC hits the post. And it's Jaime Moreno again, a moment of brilliance. Echeverry. Can they pull one back?
Tough break for the DC United. Certainly would make the last 3 minutes or so of this game more exciting.
What a brilliant individual piece of work there from Moreno.
Kind of like Hugo Pineda's. He knows his goal well. He knows this is coming off the post. As that ball's hitting off the frame, he's getting ready for where he's trying to figure the rebound is going to go. At one point, it almost looked like he was trying to bat it into the goal.
Yamosa gets a yellow card for DC United. Well, Jaime Moreno beat everything but the woodwork.
You would all think that that was a cross.
Not a chance. Gio Vasquez called offside. Jaime Moreno has been an influence in both games for DC United. But Necaxa is in the driver's seat to go on to the Concacaf Champions Finals. Raul Arias, the man there, leading them. Yeah, it's a soccer ball, sir. He's looking at it like it's Pineda goes down. Echeverri. DC looking for a miracle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has added 2 minutes of injury time.
2 minutes of injury time, we're into it. The header there, but right at Pineda, no power on that one. Well, DC United has got about 1 minute and 45 seconds to sit on their throne as CONCACAF champions, because Necaxa looking to derail them. Sergio Vasquez. And it looks like this clash of high-powered offenses is going to go to the Rayos of Necaxa. Moreno. Ben Olsen now. That header goes wide from Chris Albright. The spirit of DC United, though, still pressing, trying to get a goal here in injury time. But it has been a well-organized tactical effort here from Necaxa.
I think Necaxa has shown us every bit of what Alajuela showed us against Chicago. Solid collective effort.
Tournament savvy.
That's it, knowing how to win. Ironically, the game against the Galaxy, I didn't think Necaxa really showed much at all. Yet they were able to advance by way of penalties. They have shown a lot here against DC.
They would have to be considered the favorites.
We talked about that going into the Chicago game with Alajuela. That's another team that seems to know how to win.
And there it is. Carlos Batres has blown the final whistle. Necaxa will go to the final to face Alajuela of Costa Rica. 3 unanswered goals after falling to the early 1-0 DC lead. There will be the final. Alajuela of Costa Rica against Necaxa of Mexico. That is 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You will not want to miss that. That is for a trip to the World Club Championships in Brazil in January 2000.
Beginning with the consolation game at 2 o'clock, featuring DC United.
Rick, we talked about the experience of Necaxa in tournament play. It really shows tonight.
Really shows that is not only the experience in tournament play, but I think in competitions where they just know what it takes to go ahead and win games. They took it to DC United despite getting behind at the start of the game.
Well, and they beat the defending CONCACAF champions. They beat a great DC United team. Don't go away. We're going to wrap this one up. Once again, our final, Necaxa 3, DC 1.